Okay. Look at you, all. You must be the others. Terrific. So, just to refresh, you are one.
This is actually happening. Professor X is back. Magneto is back. Cyclops is finally getting another shot. Beast is connecting mutant science to Avengers technology. Gambit has apparently decided to become serious. Nightcrawler is blue again. Mystique is somewhere in the room, which means nobody should trust anybody. And hanging over all of this is one massive question: are we finally looking at the first real MCU X-Men team? We're ranking 10 figures shaping this historic mutant roster, starting with the characters sitting around the edges and moving all the way to the man who appears to be standing right at the center. And at number 10, we have Namor. Now, before somebody starts shouting, "Namor isn't an X-Man," yeah, calm down. Nobody's putting him in Xavier's school uniform and asking him to attend algebra class. Tenoch Huerta Mejia's Namor is not an X-Man in the traditional sense, but the mutant king of Talocan has technically been part of MCU canon since Black Panther Wakanda Forever in 2022. That makes him the franchise's earliest confirmed mutant monarch. Namor is locked in for Doomsday and will likely arrive alongside fellow Talocanal warriors Namora and Atuma. However, his allegiance probably sits closer to the Wakandan side of this enormous conflict than Professor Xavier's team, so his mutant status may be more symbolic than operational here. But that's still important because Namor reminds us that mutants in the MCU don't begin and end at the X-Mansion. There may be a much wider mutant population out there. At number 9, Wade Wilson. Deadpool in an Avengers movie. Just imagine the HR complaints. But here's the problem: Ryan Reynolds is still not officially confirmed for Avengers Doomsday. The rumors have been everywhere, especially after Reynolds kept feeding Marvel fans just enough material to keep the speculation alive. But Marvel's announced cast has not included his name, and reports about his involvement have been conflicting. So right now, Wade's exact place in Doomsday remains uncertain. Number 8, Wolverine. Yes, Hugh Jackman, the rumor that simply refuses to go home. Insiders have repeatedly claimed Jackman will appear in Doomsday. Then James Marsden made that cagey "he was missed" comment about filming without him, which naturally poured another giant bucket of fuel onto the rumor. Jackman's own responses haven't exactly killed the speculation either. He's given playful non-answers rather than direct denials. But here's the fact we need to remember: Hugh Jackman's name has not appeared on Marvel's officially confirmed Doomsday cast list. So no, we cannot call Wolverine confirmed. Could he appear? Possibly. Could Marvel be hiding him? Maybe. Could Logan be held back for Secret Wars instead? That's also possible, especially with rumors of a three-way reunion involving Wolverine and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. For now, Wolverine remains outside the official team picture. Which brings us to number 7, Nightcrawler. Alan Cumming is officially returning as Kurt Wagner for the first time since X2 X-Men United in 2003. Just think about that gap. More than 2 decades later, Cumming is going back into the blue skin and makeup, and he has described the experience as genuinely healing. That's actually one of the more emotionally interesting stories behind this entire reunion. Cumming finally gets another chance to play Nightcrawler with modern filmmaking behind the character. Kurt's teleportation powers already looked memorable in the early 2000s, so seeing what Doomsday does with him could be fascinating. His screen time may be modest compared with the biggest characters in this ridiculously packed movie, but his reunion with old X2 co-stars gives the film a genuine legacy connection. At number 6, Gambit. Oh, Channing Tatum waited years to play this man, and now apparently Marvel can't get rid of him. After his appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine, Tatum is confirmed to return as Gambit in Avengers Doomsday. But there's an interesting change coming. Tatum has said he won't go full Cajun this time. The Russo brothers reportedly want a more dramatic and grounded tone for Gambit than the comic relief version audiences met in 2024, and that's actually a pretty significant detail, because it suggests Gambit may not be returning as a walking Easter egg. He could be positioned as a genuine team asset. The cards are still there, the powers are still there, but the tone may be different. Number 5, Mystique. Rebecca Romijn returning was one of the biggest surprises when Marvel revealed the roster. Jennifer Lawrence played the shapeshifter throughout the prequel trilogy, so seeing Romijn's name attached to Doomsday immediately pulled everything back toward the original X-Men era. Romijn hasn't had a full Mystique role since X-Men: The Last Stand. That's close to 2 decades away from the role, and now she's returning in a movie about universes colliding. You know, putting a shapeshifter into a multiversal crisis feels slightly dangerous. Number 4. Beast. This is where things get really interesting. Kelsey Grammer already surprised MCU audiences by returning as Hank McCoy in the Marvel's 2023 post-credit scene, and now he's officially part of Avengers Doomsday. That matters, because Beast is not simply muscle with blue fur. Hank McCoy has always been one of the X-Men's great scientific minds. Think about the groups involved here: Avengers, Wakandans, Fantastic Four, X-Men, different universes colliding. So if Doomsday needs somebody from the mutant side who can actually understand the science behind a multiversal crisis, Beast is a pretty obvious candidate. Now, Marvel hasn't confirmed exactly what his role will be, but Hank McCoy has the brains to carry actual narrative weight, instead of appearing for 30 seconds, saying something intelligent and disappearing behind a blue door. Number 3. Cyclops. Finally! James Marsden is confirmed to return as Scott Summers, and Doomsday may finally give Cyclops the kind of role longtime fans have wanted for years. Marvel hasn't revealed exactly how big his role is, but the X-Men teaser has already put serious attention on Scott. We see him in a comic-accurate yellow and blue suit, emotionally unleashing his signature optic blast amid the destruction around the X-Mansion. Somebody remembered Cyclops is supposed to be important. In the original Fox trilogy, Scott was often underserved. Wolverine naturally dominated much of the attention, and Cyclops never completely became the major leader many comic fans expected. Doomsday could change that. If the film really places him in a commanding position, Scott may finally get his redemption arc. And honestly, trying to organize Avengers, X-Men, Wakandans, and the Fantastic Four during a multiversal disaster sounds like the worst management job in cinematic history. Good luck, Scott. Number 2. Magneto. Sir Ian McKellen is officially returning. The last time he had a full appearance as Magneto was in X-Men Days of Future Past in 2014. Now, more than a decade later, he's stepping back into the role for Avengers Doomsday. And teasers have already shown Magneto reuniting with Charles Xavier amid the ruins of the X-Mansion. That image alone is doing enormous work for this movie. Magneto's presence tells us something important. Doomsday isn't only bringing X-Men heroes into this collision, it's bringing their iconic adversaries too. And with Doctor Doom at the center of this crisis, Magneto becomes incredibly unpredictable. Does he cooperate with Xavier? Does he work alongside the Avengers? Does he decide everybody else's plan is stupid and create his own? All of those possibilities feel believable based on his history. The relationship between Charles and Eric has always been one of the emotional foundations of the X-Men films. Seeing Stewart and McKellen together again inside this MCU event may be one of Doomsday's biggest legacy moments. But number 1 could only be one person: Professor Charles Xavier. Patrick Stewart is the clearest anchor of this mutant roster, and somehow Charles Xavier has technically died twice across Marvel's broader multiverse. He died in Logan in 2017, then a variant of Xavier appeared in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and, well, things did not exactly go wonderfully for him there either. Yet Professor X is back again. At this point, Charles may need to stop buying life insurance because nobody is going to believe him, but his Doomsday return feels symbolic. His reunion with Ian McKellen's Magneto became one of the biggest images from the X-Men teaser, and narratively, Xavier's presence sends the clearest possible message. The X-Men are entering Marvel Studios' canon for real, not just a quick multiversal cameo, not simply Beast appearing after the credits, not one mutant reveal hidden at the end of a television series. The X-Men are here. But who do you think will lead the mutant team in Doomsday? Professor X, Cyclops, or someone completely unexpected? Drop your pick in the comments. Hit like if you're ready for the X-Men's MCU era, and subscribe for more Marvel breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.